Hey, Todd Berry from toddberry.com. Today we're talk a little bit about something we need a whole lot more of, not just in the world in general, but you need more of in your workplaces and in families and homes. And it's hope, right? Hope is it's a powerful thing. It's a really powerful thing. And it's something anyone can inspire. And I'm not talking about standing on stages and inspiring audiences of thousands or being famous and inspiring through that. I'm talking about day-to-day inspiration of hope. You know, one of the things that I teach is in framing your day is to ask yourself questions. And one of the questions I ask myself every day is, who will I impact today? I list these 5 questions that I specifically ask myself in the 3 Circles Living book, but who will I impact today? It's a powerful question because you're going to impact lots of people whether you do it on purpose or not. And so when you are conscious of the fact that you're making an impact everywhere you go, everyone you touch, every smile or frown has an impact, then you can start getting deeper, and hope is one of those things that you can impact people with in a very great way, because the difference between feeling hopeful and hopeless, wow, it's literally the difference between using the resources that someone has to make a difference in their own life and their families, or just giving up, right? I mean, when you feel helpless about something, you feel hopeless. And when you feel hopeless, that's sort of the, what's the use? I mean, I know I've been there more than once in my life where I just felt like, what's the use, right? What's the use? And when you get like that, right? I mean, that direction goes really bad, right? What's the use leads to inaction, which leads to guilt and feeling worse, which leads to less action, right? It's just a spiral. But the flip side is awesome. When you can truly inspire hope with someone, man, it's like a magic elixir, right? It's in that same vein as feeling loved, right? It naturally empowers someone. And one of the cool things about hope is that it's one of those things that, you know, if you think about what hope is, right? It's a positive anticipation of something that can happen in the future, right? That you want to happen in the future. But the really cool thing about it is, if you think about it, when you feel hopeless, when you feel hopeful, you feel positive, which means, right, you're able to actually take some of the vibration you would have in accomplishing or receiving the thing you're hoping for and use it right now, right? Because you feel good right now. And then that trickles over into everything else. Because the truth is, if you're optimistic about anything, you tend to be optimistic about everything, right? It filters over. So I'm going to give you a really quick formula here that is very useful. But first you have to recognize that this formula builds on another formula. So before anything you have to say is going to truly be received and be of value to someone, they have to trust you in some capacity. I don't mean that they have to trust you to the level that they would, entrust their entire family to you. I just mean there has to be a measure of trust. And so once there's a measure of trust, the next layer of that is someone needs to feel like you understand them. Because once they feel you trust them and understand them, then anything you have to contribute, whether it's advice or input or an idea or a suggestion, will be heard, right? It will be heard in the context of what someone's trying to do. So you take that frame, because that frame matters here. And when you filter it over towards inspiring hope, which is the whole purpose of this, the first thing you have to recognize is that trust is going to matter, right? So how do you earn the right to be trusted enough to have the ability to inspire hope? Well, first you have to demonstrate that you care, right? That you actually do care, because that's one of the reasons that someone would listen to you, is if they know you care. And then the other thing is that you have to be exemplifying, living in a way or working in a way or whatever it is that you're connecting this hope to, that another person would go, oh, that person might know what they're talking about. In other words, you have to be the person, right? In some regard. Again, you don't have to be the greatest in the world, right? You just have to be exempling, living in the same vein, in the same context of what you're going to present, right? So let's face it, there's lots of experts out there today. As a matter of fact, there's classes that you can take that will teach you how to position yourself as an expert, even if you're not, right? So you have to be this person. You can't pretend it, right? You got to be it. So it's got to be visible. So here's a really simple formula for how to inspire hope for someone. First, you have to listen. I mean, what does listening say? Listening says, I value you, right? That you're important enough for me to give my attention to, that I care about what you have to say, that you're meaningful, right? That is the next layer of that trust thing, right? So that's where the connection starts to get deeper. So you have to truly listen to a person. And then the next step from that is you encourage them. You see, if you spend 5 minutes with someone, really spend 5 minutes and really listen and really and when I say listen, I mean taking the whole person, right? And really have a grasp of the human being, then you can get a feel relatively fast for some of their capability, some of their strengths, the way they think, right? What they're oriented towards, which gives you a basis to give genuine encouragement. Now, obviously, if you work with someone, you spend time around someone, you really know this stuff. And this is where encouragement really matters. You see, the encouragement of you can do it, that's a little bit, that's not just vague. It doesn't have substance, right? I can do it. No, how about if you give me why you believe I can do it, right? What do you see in me that makes you believe I can do it? Because that's powerful. So when you listen to someone and then you genuinely encourage them by sharing a truth that you see about them, that you observe about them, right? Because now this is in that context of trust and understood, they can receive that. And they can receive that and go, oh, I can do something, or maybe I can do something because I possess something because people don't look at themselves that way. They see themselves for what they don't have, not for what they do. And then the third piece, and this is where you really drive it home, you share a story. Because it's the logic is pretty irrelevant, right? We're emotional creatures anyway, and so logic doesn't even matter until we're emotionally in that right direction. Then we go, okay, so if I'm inspired that I can do something, then the logic of how I might be able to do it might matter. But if I'm not inspired that I can do something, you can logic me until you fall over. But if I'm not feeling it, that's different, right? And so when you share a story, here's the power of that. It can be your story or it can be someone else's story. But you're sharing a story. Now, what's inspiring about a story? Struggle, right? Movement through struggle. That's what every story on the planet that someone cares about matters, right? It's because you're solving something. And that's relatable because everybody is struggling or trying to solve something. And so by sharing a story, a true story about how someone was dealing with an issue, was trying to figure it out, was going back and forth, was going up and down, was failing and getting back up, right? And then found a way to accomplish something that was in line. Doesn't have to be the exact same thing, but in line with what this person you're trying to inspire hope about. You make a connection between their struggle and this person's struggle. And then the fact that that person then found a path and moved forward brings hope. It seems simple because it is, right? There's too much complexity on the planet, right? So keep things simple. Listen, encourage, share a story, right? And you will inspire hope for people. I hope that this was of value for you and you will use it. Because man, if you could be a bringer of hope on purpose, that's impacting people. That changes the game. Being hopeful is a game changer. We need way more of that in today's world. I hope if you got value from this, you will please share this with other people. Have a great day.